Yeah, Roger Stone and the raid that happened at his house, I believe it was in Florida. I looked at the tapes of that, and it was like worse than the raid that they did on El Chapo many years ago. It's really incredible how they treat people in the Trump
Yes,
orbit.
but
And
look
you're
what
right,
happens.
Mayor. The
Look
question
what
is, where
happens
is
when
the
they have
DOJ?
this. Look what happens when they have a bank heist. This looks like a bank heist. If you don't move immediately on this, I don't know why you're the FBI.
Yeah, and
I
so
mean, there's no doubt about this. There's no doubt they're counting phony ballots. You don't do it at 2:30 in the morning and throw everybody out.
you
I mean,
believe,
we'd have to be foolish to think it was any other purpose to it.
yeah.
So now go get those. They waited too long already, but you never know. They may have left something behind. Everything should have been confiscated. Everything should have been seized. Of course, it should have been done 2 weeks ago.
So
But we don't have an FBI.
yeah, and so the FBI is not doing anything looking into voter fraud right now, is what you're saying.
Well, I just don't know. I did this work for 17 years. I can't imagine not jumping on that within 2 minutes of seeing it.
Yeah, it must be really frustrating to have all of this evidence and witnesses that are willing to come forward or have come forward, and nothing's really being done. And you've been around from state to state. I watched the Michigan hearing, I watched the Arizona hearing, watched the Georgia hearing, many hours. What do you think are the biggest takeaways? And then what are the next steps? Will you continue to do election hearings? It feels like we're running out of time.
The next step is to pray to God to give some of our Republican members courage. To have courage to respond to the chicanery and stealing of the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party takes advantage of us because they feel we're suckers. And I sat there in Michigan and I watched these Republican legislators so pained, finding it so difficult to do what they have to do. You know, sometimes in this government, you're the one that's called upon to make the difficult decision. The Constitution of the United States puts the finger on the state legislature. Under Article 2, Section 1, Clause 2 of the Constitution, there's evidence now that every one of these state legislatures should have a special session, call these witnesses, put them under oath. Each one of them can make a finding that Biden lost that vote by well over hundreds of thousands of votes. I mean, Georgia is a one-day hearing. Those votes alone disqualified Biden. Right there. That's it. Gone. He didn't win Georgia.
Yeah. How concerned are you about the Georgia Senate runoff? So there was a Stop the Steal rally the other day, and attorney Lin Wood, who's one of President Trump's attorneys, he's been a Trump supporter, if you will. He was under fire for suggesting Republicans shouldn't even go out to vote. I think that's a bad move, but I can see where he's coming from is that there's frustration that there was voter fraud in Georgia. Nothing's being done. A lot of the Republicans have abandoned President Trump in this, and a lot of people are wondering if their vote's going to count. What's your reaction to what he said at the Stop the Steal rally?
I don't think Lynn should have said that. I think people should vote for the two Republicans in that race to save us from the devastation of what the Democrats want to do to us, which is to make us a socialist country, to increase our taxes to 70 or 80%, to give money away to Iran, to endanger our security in North Korea, and to put a total incompetent in the White House, a man who probably is going to be out within 2 years based on dementia. I mean, of course, they should vote for these two Republicans. On the other hand, I can understand the frustration of the Republicans. They feel they're being double-crossed by the professional Republicans. They feel, and they know now, they voted for Donald Trump. And the professional Republicans don't have the guts to stand up and say that. And Professor Eastman told them last night, bluntly, you've got the power to do it. You've got the evidence to do it. The ball is in your court. And now the question is, do you have the will to do it?
Yeah.
And I am praying that they do. I'm praying that they have the will to do it. I mean, courage is a rare commodity, but it's probably the thing that God rewards the most.
Yeah, and you know a lot about courage because you took down the mob, and now we have you here exposing the voter fraud happening in states, in the battleground states across the country. Well, Mayor, we're gonna have to leave it here. Yeah. We appreciate you.
I'll give the governor one piece of advice on how to win that state. Call a special election, have 2 days of hearings. And if you agree that this vote went to Trump, award the electors to Trump. Yeah. They'll win by 70%.
Yeah. Again, it's really hard to wrap your mind around Biden winning an election. He didn't even leave
Be
his
true to
basement.
yourself.
70% of Republicans don't believe this was a free and fair election. Even 30% of Democrats don't believe it was fair. And you think about him and the rallies that he held, he could hardly get like 20 people there. It's really hard to believe that he got some 80 million votes. I'm not buying it. Well, Mayor,
He did.
we're totally out of time. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Good to see you.